Hello, dear ones. I hope you're okay throughout this very interesting times. I'm sharing the sound I'm hearing with you guys. I don't really have my microphone. We're still dealing with some moving. And yeah, I don't have all my sets, so I hope the sound is okay and that you can hear me. And yeah, the energies are so interesting, and I've been called to do a collective reading for a very long time. The last time I did one was on the 21st of February. Today is the 6th of March. And yeah, I've just been through a lot in my individual process. I'm sure for you guys have been exactly the same on an individual level. So it's a collective thing, but how it expresses, it's very particular for each person, right? So I was just like, I'm due to do a reading for a friend. And the calling is still not quite there. So you know who you are if you're looking at this. Yeah, I hope you understand. But yeah, I was just preparing to read for her, and I couldn't. It's like, yeah, it's like just the energy is calling for the collective. I'm sure all of us need the reading that it's going to happen right now. So yeah, let's jump right into it. And what else I want to say? What did I want to say to you guys before we start? Not really much, but it's a very interesting neutral day in terms of like, yeah, no day is neutral, right? Like, but we can be neutral through the cosmic things that are expressing. And but yeah, there's this very emotional energy. There's this tendency, if you don't have the time and the space to allow these emotions to surface, to become overwhelmed. So it's a very like emotionally, I would say, unstable, but it's like this emotional fluctuations that are expressing right now. And yeah, the overall energy of the collective went down a little. But you know, it's like the feeling that I get is like one step back, just to assess, just to observe, to really look into these parts of ourselves that we keep neglecting, you know. And yeah, the universe really likes for us to, and we're gonna start going into the eclipse season, so we're not even there yet. But God always wants us to have like a new perspective, and a new perspective, it's like the complexity of life. and how we're just entering this amazing cosmic times now. So yeah, just get ready for what is coming. Because it will be a lot. It will be intense. It will be amazing, and at the same time can be quite scary. The transformations that we are going to experience on a collective level. So yeah. There are a lot of foundational mindsets and belief systems that have to be in place before we move forward into this new cosmological year that's going to express officially, of course, its energy. It's like it doesn't start and stop and start in a particular day. It's something that comes and goes. And yeah, so there are some closing off cycles. Again, there's the same idea, but March is a very potent, beautiful, positive month. Actually, if you are able to accept the change that God has for you, and this is the time to do it. You know, it is the time to embrace this change. And it's interesting, I was creating this post to put on social media about, because of a conversation I had with a client the other day about life, you know, because we are so programmed to want life to be fun and happy and interesting and expensive, and you know, all this positive things. But yeah, life is that, but it's also the other spectrum of like challenge and struggle and pain and grief and death. Yeah, those things also in this 3D material realm, they're also part of life. Life is a sine wave, right? It's up and down. Anything that is a straight line is a stagnation, right? And it's death. Anything that keeps being the same eventually decays, right? So we do have very beautiful month ahead of us, a month that definitely requires for us to have courage. And for the Monday of, I don't know if it was February Monday or January Monday, I don't remember specifically, but the Mondays are gatherings from this membership I have, which is called Temperance Temple. And the Mondays we get together and we do some sharing, some meditation, some energetic work. It varies from each Monday and each subject that we're gonna approach. But there was this Monday we started to talk about courage. And I went, as I always like to do, I went to see the etymology of the word, and it came from the French courage. And yeah, it's like cœur, which is heart, and age is action. So action from the heart, that's courage. So yes, we need to act from the heart in order to deal with the times that are going to present to our collective, to ourselves individually. And that willingness of feeling our heart to see a new reality, to see truth, and it is about navigating the unknown. And if you're really willing to do this work of becoming conscious, aware, awake, well, it is a very solitary path, because it's not mainstream. It kind of looks more mainstream now because more and more people are awakening to the energies, to some of the manipulations we've been subjected to. It depends. Each person, it's different, right? How they awake to a bigger, more complex reality. But there are different layers and levels of doing this and following this path. It's of course different for everyone in each one, right? And it's how it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be formula that is just fits for everyone, because yeah, the beauty of nature is that everyone can be unique and has space to be authentic and unique and distinguishable from the rest. It's in this variety that life just thrives, right? So, but there are different levels of this path, and the more awake and aware you're gonna become, if you want to keep doing this, walking this journey of consciousness and ascension, it becomes harder and harder, and it becomes more lonely, but more in like the solitude kind of expression of that, and not like isolation, right? Because we then end up attracting the people that are in the same frequency anyways. But yeah, it is a lesson about navigating the unknown, and most people around you, I'm sure you feel this, they don't understand you, they don't really get you, right? The more we access our nature, the more we search and investigate our true essence, the more we will touch upon unpredictability, because life is unpredictable. It's wild, but it's also wise. And it's life that wakes us up. It's not other people telling us about conspiracies, theories, or spirituality techniques or whatever. No, it's life. True awakening comes from life experience. It's natural process that usually takes place in some very drastic, I would say sometimes even dramatic way to wake us up, right? Because it's such a slumber. It's such, yeah, we are so drugged up. You know, we are so, this world is really sleeping beauties everywhere. Yeah, and we're all in this process, but definitely some are choosing more to be in it fully. I hope you're one of those people, the few that are really dedicating themselves to this exploration, to this journey, right? Because it's going to be very, very interesting the next years. And it is because your heart has awakened, right? And that's why you understand what I'm saying. And the ones that the heart hasn't really awakened, they're like, they don't really get me. So it's fine. It's not, again, it's not that I'm better or the ones that have their heart awakened are better. It's just each person takes its time and has also its own process. But it's like this feeling of this courage to go against what is established. So this courage in our heart to start to take the steps actively, not continuing to be passive in our way of being, but becoming more and more aware of our need for true freedom, true power, and that brings a lot of responsibility. And most of us, most of the collective is not able to be even responsible for themselves, right? So what I have here from the advice of this times is really to trust. We really, really need to go to a deeper level of loving ourselves. And in that sense, it's like just like shutting off the doubts and the fear. It's like becoming aware of them, definitely, but not allowing it to contaminate our access to divine wisdom. Okay? Yeah. We're gonna figure out a lot of new things we didn't knew before. And we're gonna do it together because yeah, it is Aquarius season. Not season. It's the Aquarian age. And it's union consciousness. It is time to not run away from darkness. It's really time to ground ourselves, to experience the beauty of the energy within our hearts and really work through the courage, the action of the heart in our lives every day, in each moment, becoming more and more present and allowing for God to show us truth. What else do we have here for this beautiful reading? What is the advice that we need for these times, please? Yeah. It's like, why do we need this? You know, we need this courage because we are living in a prison. If you haven't figured that out yet, no. We are in a prison of illusion, of lies, of manipulation, of control. And the beauty of these times, these powerful times, this Aquarian age, that's it, Aquarian age, is that little by little, each heart is going to wake up. All the things that suffocate our hearts, that create this disconnection that we have, like we literally are born into a world that cuts off our connection to our hearts, to our intuition. We're like all fragmented as beings for multiple reasons, in multiple ways. But everything that is creating this separation is going to be challenged, is starting to be questioned. The heart is what makes us able to access truth. And I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Truth is not subjective. There's truth. What is truth? Just is. Doesn't need anybody to defend it, to prove it. It just is. Truth is truth. And this system, this inorganic false matrix we live in, we are born into, wants us to perceive truth as something subjective. No, that's my truth. And your truth can be different. And in a way, like, yeah, but that's perspective. Perspective is different. My perspective is different. It's unique, right? Like, some people can agree with me, but their perspective will always be different somehow. So we have infinite perspectives of the same thing. of the same truth. But truth is truth. It's not subjective. And by this disconnection, by making us feel scattered, we are lost in confusion. We are lost in doubt and despair. And it's no longer time to rage against the machine. You know? Because we can protect love, we can protect ourselves and change and create change just by being present. We don't need to go out in the world and scream our truth or truth, because yeah, only if you really feel it in your heart, that's your, but it's not really a necessity. It's more in the small steps that we give each day, you know? It's also one of the things that I feel New Age spirituality movements are just like implementing all these big things of, it's everything in numbers, you know, like these big festivals with, I don't know, big ceremonies. You're only spiritual if you have done ayahuasca or something. Just giving an example. It's not like, again, if you feel called to do it, of course, but it's like this mainstream. It's like, again, the formula, you know, giving one formula. So it's like, you know, in a way, it's just everything, all the systems of this bigger system, an organic system, this matrix, this false matrix, we can say. It's to create these little subsystems that make people just imprisoned once again. Because you're like, yeah, it's just like that kind of mindset, but it's basically like in any religion, right? That thinks they're the way, only way, right? This is the only way that you're going to be saved. This is the only way you can connect to God. And when you do really connect to God through nature, you understand that are infinite ways. There's not only one way, because all of us are different. And we are all loved. And each path is different. There's not a formula that works for everyone. I'm sorry, there isn't. If there was, it would be easy. But we see that temptation, or then that attempt to prove that this is the way to do it. This is the way to access salvation. This is the way to access self-knowledge. This is the way to access bliss. There's not only one way to any of that. And usually the profound change happens in the smallest steps in your path. Sometimes I say to some of my clients, like that want to try out this technique or that retreat or whatever. I was like, yeah, it's nice. All those things are tools that definitely can work for you. But it's very easy to be different and feel different and more holy and more whole and more at peace when you're in this amazing retreat, eating food that it's made for you by somebody else. And, you know, but what about in your day-to-day life? Right? I don't know who said it, but there's a very nice quote that I think it was Ramdas, but I'm not sure. That said, like, if you think you're enlightened, spend a weekend with your family. And that's exactly it. It's like it's in the day-to-day, that each present moment. When it's hard, like when you have all this chaos and like you have work to do and you have kids to take care of and you have the house is like a mess, you know, it's in your own environment. How can you call in more sacredness, more spirituality, more understanding, more enlightenment in those moments, in your actual reality, the mundane reality you live in, right? So it's a very sneaky energy that we have all the time around us, like telling us that only these very big moves are a representation of this ascension, awakening process, you know? It's very important to connect, to start a practice to connect truly, moment to moment, to what you feel in your heart. What do you really value? What do you really feel is true? You know? It's really developing this ability to understand what makes you feel joyful in the smallest things. Because the inorganic matrix is all about grandiose and like dopamine addiction, basically. True joy, it's very peaceful, it's very neutral, it's very relaxed, it's very expanded, it's very present. So true joy brings us strength, brings us the courage to do differently, to be fierce in our approach to life in every present moment. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but in the mainstream there's a lot of this sacredness happening. There's a lot of desensitizing people towards that violence, sex. Yeah, like I'm not very aware of it, more or less. It's just like, because personally I need to step away from those kind of vibrations and information and images and whatever. I don't need that in my life. But yeah, like that's the natural tendency of the system, of the culture that we live in, is that just, yeah, to make us disconnect from the purest form of love, and to make us want the lust, the luxury, the infatuation, like immediate rewards, immediate fulfillment, but like superficial, right? Of all our desires, our sexual desires, our material desires, whatever. And it's a lot about this cutting off our connection to innocence, to beauty. We have to become aware of it, and we have to hold it, our innocence, our purity within our hearts, if we want to create peace and fulfillment, wholeness in our lives. Right? Okay. Because this is one of the ways that the powers that are trying to keep being power, the beings that are trying to keep being in power, make us control our way of manifesting, because we do manifest through our lower chakra. Well, we manifest through the connection of all of them, and eventually we don't need the chakra system in further future. But our sacral chakra, which is holds our creativity, right? Literally, for women, holds our creative ability to create literal life, a baby, right? It's through there, the contamination of that space with lower vibrations of lust, of, yeah, this like superficial physical desire, all these very unsacred manifestations of the feminine. For example, have you watched, like, I don't know, Nicki Minaj music video, or like this lady Doja Cat or whatever? It's a kind of programming. Do you feel that's like, I challenge you to go and watch one. I cannot. It's just like, it's basically porn being normalized. You know? And I'm not even going to talk about the symbology in it. Maybe one day, if you guys are interested, we can analyze those. It's a mind control program, the music industry. We're gonna learn that. If you don't, you will in the next years. But yeah, that's one of the ways that we are not able to manifest anything else other than what we are being programmed to manifest as a collective, because they are hindering the system. The inorganic system is contaminating us with these images, with these concepts, with this symbology, this semiotic, without us even knowing. And then we cannot manifest in a higher vibration, because all we hold within ourselves is this idea that love is sexual desire or physical craving specific shapes and forms of bodies. And yeah, and in that sense, what are we creating, right? What are we creating right now as a collective? That's why the message here today, apparently, is really to hold this courage, this connection to your heart, to your purity, to your innocence, because that will allow you individually to clear off this density, this negativity, this this very destructive energy. And we all hold this within us because we all live in this world, right? And we all grew up watching, I don't know, MTV. I don't know. But yeah, because we need to clear our vessel from this kind of concepts that are imposed to us, so we can really truly start to create from a place of power. It's really this that comes forward to this healing of the both masculine and the feminine, Everybody has both inside of them, and both sides, internally and externally, are very damaged, are very traumatized, are very imbalanced, very wounded. And this is what is in need to be brought up to light and to be healed and balanced, right? It's like, otherwise, without this balancing both sides, because in this reality, everything is dual. That's the beauty of this reality. It's a duality reality. But we are programmed and educated and indoctrinated to perceive that duality as a conflict, right? men against women, light against dark, white against black, whatever, you name it, it's everything, right? It's always a war, always, it's constant. It's always a conflict. There's always a conflict. In the mainstream narrative, it's always a conflict. But nature shows us it's not a war. When you observe nature, you see that it's a contrast. Night and day, it's very contrasting experiences, but they are both needed for the natural cycles to unfold, right? To create balance within each being that exists in this reality. So we're gonna be called to do this internal and external balancing act between dual, different aspects of self, even like looking at our shadow, right? Not only being in the light side, because we are both, we need both. They're both needed in order to expand, right? It's emotion, it's attracting, magnetizing, but it's also expanding. It's like contraction and expansion, right? That's how everything spirals and moves in this amazing creation, right? We are going to the next level. We are maturing as a collective. And the more we allow ourselves to connect to our hearts, our intuition, our inner guidance, our inner vision, our own individual ability to connect to consciousness, source consciousness, / God, / the universe, whatever you want to call it. Everybody has that ability. We don't need a priest. We don't need a guru. We don't need a scientist, a doctor, a teacher. Every single one of us is sovereign enough to access divine wisdom. So we need to balance ourselves from within. Okay, let's keep going. I do feel it's going to be a long reading. I think I'm already 1 hour on it. I don't really know. But yeah, when God calls you to do something, you just do it. And that's it. as I love to say. That's it. Okay. So, and why? Why are our hearts? We've talked about this before, but we're going to talk about it again. Repetition is key in the perfection of any practice. So, yeah. Sorry, I lost my notes, but I found them. And through all of these things that I've already talked about how the inorganic matrix that we are born into, that we live in, uh, programs us and indoctrinates us to just be unaware, right? I just want to reiterate that for some of us, for the ones that are more aware, because the collective has totally unaware people that are a little bit aware and some that are more aware than others. It's like this part is for the ones that are already aware that this reality is something more than we are programmed to believe. Okay. Why are our hearts also still so, despite being awake, why are they so blocked from feeling, from accessing truly the divine? And one of the reasons is because definitely we are bombarded. It's like the moment your heart is awake, it's like in the inorganic system, it's just all these just bells that ring, and it's like, oh my god, this person awake. So like our vibration shifts in a way that it in the inorganic grid system, which is also like kind of a artificial intelligence, kind of a sentient system. It recognizes when any being awakes. Okay, it's about energy. When your heart awakes to this reality, it's just there's a little burst of energy that happens that spikes on the let's say radar of the inorganic system. And the natural thing that happens that follows that is that the hearts that are awake are kind of bombarded by distraction. So we get back into slumber mode, into zombie mode. Okay. Or at least like that we start to fear to become awake and aware. One of the other ways that I'm getting here is like, of course, feeling left out. So yeah, the inorganic system also makes sure to hinder your relationships and your connections. So by luring people around you into other directions. But it's like right now, what I see here is that we need to become aware of the things that are still triggering us, that still create like this very intense reaction on us, because it is important to not avoid this and to really look at it. Why is it still hurting me? Why is it affecting me this much? Why is my reaction so unconscious or like so reactive? Sorry. Right? It's very important to detach ourselves from this idea of the good person. That is also a program from the inorganic system. Imagine if you just program each and everyone to be afraid of being bad. Well, it's a total different conversation, but it is very important for us to detach from that level of perfection, of the need to be good, a good person. That's not a truth. That's very subjective. There are things that are right, there are things that are wrong, but good and bad is very subjective, definitely. But the point here is we need to become more and more aware, like the next level for us to be able to attract, to create a better, more balanced reality, is that we need to take responsibility for how we respond to the external. Okay? Because if you watch these readings till this far, it's like, you know that you create this reality. You know that the external is just a reflection, is just holographic representation of what's going on inside of you. So we really need to become more automatic in recognizing these dense feelings when something happens or somebody says something to us or whatever, any kind of situation that really impacts us in a negative way, dense way, like guilt, fear, shame, anger, all those things. We have to become more automatic in recognizing, and being on the observer mode. That's what I mean, right? Because that will allow us to move through, to not attach to those emotions, to move through them and clear our heart space from those densities. Because the further we go, I'm sad today, the more complex all this process of recognizing reality and recognizing energy will become. Okay? Let me see if there's something else here, because I'm kind of like getting the idea of the clearing, like our hearts are blocked because of this, because there's the first thing that we access when we experience something more dense or negative is like, oh, I shouldn't feel anger. I shouldn't feel shame, or and it's like, there's no should. It's just that doesn't make feeling this dense emotion doesn't make you intrinsically bad. It's more about you noticing it, how it affects you, noticing the emotion, and owning that with responsibility. And it's okay. And sometimes it's actually like, if you didn't felt angry with some situations, it's like, it would be a bit weird, because there are things that makes us angry, definitely, right? So this is the thing, to not deflect, to not distract ourselves from this more negative emotions, more dense emotions, so we can allow our hearts, it's kind of getting a bit late for me, our hearts to clear and reach that peaceful present state again. Okay. See what else we have here. It's like we're stuck in some way because we haven't really quite get the connection between the lower chakras and upper chakras. It's like there's literally, when I touch the collective energy, it's like there's literally a cut, like a very clear blockage between the lower chakras and the higher chakras on the level of the heart. And it's in a bit that way, then like, it's like when I look at this energy, it's like the creative, the chakras that are portals to a connection with God, to creation, to the cosmos. It's like those are the chakras that are more affected by the density, the inorganic system. They're really targeting our sacral, our hearts, and our third eye. And the rest, they need us with rooted. They need us rooted somehow, not too much, but just enough for us to be able to be energetic, batteries. Like that's the feeling I got. We need our roots down and our roots up, still be functional, but there's this, as I said, like this split, this disconnection from all the other chakras that are more our portal to our power, to our energetic sovereignty. And the other message is it's a bit like now we're gonna have to be a bit repetitive on the idea, but it's what we have here for this time. It's really to ground and connect. We really need to be back to nature. We really, because why that? Why nature? And it's just very obvious when you see the world is just trying to make people disconnect more and more from nature. You know, you just go there in the weekends or when you're in vacation. It's like, no, we came from there. We are nature. And we are being disconnected, put into boxes, everybody on top of each other. And it's like, most people don't have any kind of connection with nature. Actually, they even fear it, right? And this is the message. It's like we need to go back to our roots, to ground and center. We need to connect to where we came from, you know? And we need to meditate about what are our roots? What are you being based on? Right? What are your priorities? And then we do have exactly the idea that I was getting before, and just truly manifested in this card. I just came out. Trust your innocence. That's exactly it. This idea that we really, like, our intuition comes from a place of purity, of innocence, of divinity, sacredness, has no ill intent. It has no evil. It has, like, that's all from the illusion of separation. It's from the inorganic system that isn't still in place. And this place of innocence comes from truth. Are you being able to, are we being, I'm saying you, but it's like all of us, are we being able to be truthful with ourselves? Are we really honoring what our heart really truly feels? In this sense, like, are we fearing to be perceived in some way, so we're pretending we're not feeling in some specific way, you know? Are we putting our boundaries up, like our healthy boundaries? Are we being truthful to others? We really need to be able to just love ourselves when we feel good, but we also need to love ourselves when we feel bad, when we feel like shit, when we feel lost, when we feel confused. We need to find that love, because that's also true. Okay, let me ask if we have anything else here. It's quite obvious from this reading, but I was feeling it. Let me clarify a little. Some other message that wants to come through, more specific to this idea of this truthfulness, of this innocence. It's like, huh, so funny. Yeah, it's just like, I don't know if you, wait, let me see if you can see the card. Yeah, you can see the mouse. It's like this. It's a very, it's a very interesting energy, the mouse, just in the sense that it's so small, right? It's this way of being small-minded, you know? It's a very nervous, it's a very all the time aware animal, right? Because it's like it's small, so it has to be aware, like all the little details, all the little things, like fearful all the time, controlling everything. Okay, so it's like that's exactly it. It's like trust your innocence, just because you are small in a way. There's power in your heart. There's a need to step back, to connect to your inner resources, to ground and center, right? To go back to your roots. What are your foundations? Because otherwise the next few weeks are going to be very, very stressful. Okay. It's important to be prepared for the next times, the times ahead. Okay. I know there's a lot of distraction. I know life brings this and that and that and that and that, but if you really, truly, truly connect to your heart, you will know what is true, what is truly important, what is the priority for you. For the other day, I don't know who said this. I'm terrible with quotes, but I read this somewhere about everybody thinks about changing the world, but they don't think about changing themselves. And that's exactly the energy for the next age, for this Aquarian age. It's like we can change the world, but we first need to change ourselves. The ascension process is an individual process, a particular, unique process that every individual will go through in their own time, in their own way, and then it will manifest collectively. not the other way around. And this is the thing. It's like, it's very important to connect to your heart, to connect to your intuition, to understand your own rhythm, to understand your own foundation, what you can rely on. So to understand your own innocence, to access your own purity, your own clarity, your own peacefulness, so you can move forward in the next times with more ease, with more awareness, with more presence, or more stability, more knowledge. Knowledge is power, as the other say. Right? Okay. I feel there's 2 or 3 things that are gonna come through just to finalize. But it's a very nice energy. For me, for myself personally, because I love truth. Sometimes it does hurt a little. Sometimes it's very hard to conceive. But I do prefer to be told a harsh truth than a nice white lie. Yeah. You know, it's just, I do know some people that prefer to be lied to. I don't understand that. For me, it's like, what? This is like total cognitive dissonance. But yeah, that's for me. Yeah. I do feel here is just like, the more we will follow our heart, the more we will follow our intuition, the more we will connect to God, to the divine realms, to the sacredness of life, of nature. It is a distinguishable process. It's gonna make us so different. We already are, but it's like we're gonna just, it's like this separation. It's just like we're gonna go against what it's the mainstream. We're gonna go against the norm, even in terms of spirituality. If you're gonna really do this in a balanced way, because the inorganic system does pick up on anything, you know, they, they cannot create, they can only use and reuse and repeat. And they try to get a hold on anything that comes out, you know, so they can manipulate the narratives, so they can keep controlling how the collective manifests reality. So we manifest the reality they want us to manifest, because we don't have knowledge, collectively speaking, you know. But the more we are willing, we have this courage to engage with our heart and act upon what we feel with our heart, despite what other people are doing, we're gonna go against the flow of, like, we're gonna go with the flow of nature, but we're gonna go against the flow of culture and civilization, because that's it. It's sick, it's dying, it's against life. It's like those very dark self-fulfilling prophecies, you know. We are few people that are really, really, really doing this from a place of the heart. We're not much. Very few people are really holding this desire from a place of innocence, of purity, of uniqueness, authenticity, individuality are sacred. And that's what the world is going for, is that we all have to think the same way, eat the same things, dress the same, drive the same cars, have the same watch. Why do you need a watch? I'm in the process of banning all the watches from my house. I don't need them anymore. I don't need an alarm clock for a very long time. I think for 3 years I haven't used it. I just willingly say to myself, to my body, I need to wake up at 6 in the morning, and I do, more or less. Sometimes not really 6, but a little bit before, a little bit later. But not much, like minutes. You should try it. Novelty will save the world. Your true, authentic self will save the world. That's exactly what the world needs, because society is decaying with repeating, regurgitating the same ideas, the same concepts over and over and over again. We will be very, very different. In a good way. We will be free in a world of slaves. No? Yeah. Focus on the light. And oh, I disappeared. And what do you feel? Very interesting. See that it's a very interesting when we look at pictures of the oracles. I'm just using today the Sacred Rebels, and these two cards came out for our connection to the divine. Is like, what do we have to do? That was my question. I was like, focus on the light. What do you feel? And look at them. They're using their hands to hold within their hands different aspects of reality, to measure with their extension. The hands are an extension of the heart, right? To measure reality. And here she's looking at our emotions. The moon represents our emotions. It's right, left, feminine, masculine, light, dark. It's like the balancing act, right? She's doing it. And is this, what do you really feel? What is your truth, right? There's a lot of distraction. And the only way we can really center again, ground, and have access to the truth is to follow what we feel without fear, without doubt of that. And if, of course, like if you're feeling in a certain way, don't try to not make choices when you feel really low and bad, okay, or confused. Of course, gain some clarity, see what you feel. It's like learning how to go through the decision-making process, right? Because there's not like all paths lead home, and it's like for each and every one of us it will be different. So for you to connect with your own heart, your own intuition, to talk to you, it's going to be different of how I do it. It's going to say something different, and it's okay. And when it's true, it just resonates. When I feel something is really true for somebody, it's like for someone, it's just truth. When somebody's speaking truth, it's just truth. Even if I'm like, I have a hard time conceiving it or like understanding it, it's just like, that says more about me, you know? And again, this idea, we don't need to be perfect, okay? There's no perfect choice. There's no perfect path. There's no perfect way to do life. Actually, we do learn more with mistakes, right? But the more we practice listening and acting upon what our heart is telling us, the better we will be accessing that wisdom, the divine wisdom, source consciousness, whatever you want to call it, you know? And we need to be able to feel, you know? And the how is gonna go, how it's gonna happen, it's not up to us, actually. The how is up to God. Just need to learn how to respond to what we feel with our heart and take action from our heart, you know? Even if it feels awkward, you know, and in the end, it's just like, oh, but how do I know if my heart intentions are pure? Well, focus on the light. Talk to your darkness, to your shadow, have it in check, have it balanced, have it nourished. Listen to it, don't mistreat it, be friends with it, have it balanced, but focus on the light. Focus on your heart, focus on your creative energy. Each time that you feel fear, if each time that you feel doubt, that you feel confusion, go there. Go to the heart space. And do not compare yourself again. And focus in grounding yourself right now. Focus on the basics. What makes your heart sing? What makes you feel good? What are the smallest steps in your path that you need to be really dedicated to? Okay, let's finish off. It was very big, intense reading, but yeah, I didn't do any for 2 weeks. So there you go. If you reach this further, I appreciate you so much. And yeah, I hope this reading was helpful for you at this time. It was definitely helpful for me. So it's very heartwarming. What do we have here for finishing off this amazing, beautiful reading for the collective? Yeah, of course, this is it. Allowing the unknown, of course. We talked about this, right? We're going to be navigating unknown, uncharted territory in the next few years, and we need to learn how to allow it to come to us without fearing it, because it's like a bit of this idea of like when you're already cultivating fear within you, or like you're feeling scared or fearful or like agitated or something, and somebody comes to you and it's just like, it's not even trying to scare you or anything, just crossed somebody and you get scared and the other person also gets scared because you got scared. It's a bit of this idea of like the next few years. It's very interesting because I keep getting this very big time span. It's like this next few years, it's going to be very intricate energy, and it's literally very, very, very loving and uplifting. But as we are in a system that needs to collapse in order for us to really receive the cosmic, true, organic energy, without all these filters and all these things of this prison we are in, really learn to allow the unknown to come, because we don't have an idea of what it is to be fully, totally free in our minds, in our bodies, in our energy. There's so much we can access, but we're not there yet. And if we learn to accept all that is coming to us, all the unknown that is coming to us, allowing it to unfold without this fear or this expectation that it's going to be uncomfortable, oh, what it is, da, da, da. And there's so much propaganda in making us fear the future. It's war, it's the aliens, it's the economic crisis, it's a new disease, it's whatever. The mainstream is full of fear mongering. So I suggest just turn it off, and you'll connect to your roots. Go to nature, connect to nature, to the real organic energy, to the real organic time, to the real organic cycles, to the real organic flow. And you will have access to truth. And you will no longer fear the unknown. You will allow it because you understand it is good. It is wise. It is peaceful. It is loving. It is expensive. It's definitely different than we are used to. And to finalize this reading, to really give us a closing off of what we've been talking about here. I always like to finish off and read for you guys because I feel it just wraps up all that I said before in a nice way, like a little I feel it's like a energetic ribbon to do this. So, well, we got baby steps. See? Small steps. The smallest steps. I love it. Action. Follow your intuition before it makes sense. You're being called to take grounded action in response to your soul's calling, to start where you are and begin building in a consistent way. So many people stop themselves from living a soul-led life because they're waiting to know the destination before taking the first step. But intuition doesn't work like that. Our soul is always calling us every moment of every day. The way to find yourself living in harmony with the cosmos is to listen to your soul's baby calls and whispers each and every day, and to take grounded action in the direction of those calls and whispers. You're being encouraged to start small, bite-sized, to put one foot in front of the other, to do one thing every day, to break things down into achievable tasks. Time on Earth goes slower than on other planets. This may cause frustration for star seeds, who can expect a faster pace of manifestation and thus give up before the seeds begin to sprout. If you resonate with that, it's time to opt for consistency over urgency. Time to take baby steps in the direction of your calling. To remember that you don't need to have it all figured out or know exactly where the path is leading you. You don't have to know every single step along the way before you set out on your great journey. You just need to take the next step. I hope this reading resonated with you guys. It was a pleasure reading for us, the collective. And yeah, I see you on the next one. If you're interested in connecting with like-minded individuals for some energetic work, just reach out, send a message, send a comment, or an email, or just subscribe to our Temperance Temple membership on our Aguiasabia Patreon. The link will be somewhere in my bio, in the description, whatever it is on the internet. And yeah, I hope to see you in the next one. And much love to you in this beautiful month of March.